Good morning, lovelies. Yeah, made it to your mat. Yeah, we can start laying down today. Grab your props if you have any handy, pillows, blocks, bolster, whatever you got. I love having those available for a beginning flow. Today, my theme is dig deep. Just dig into whatever is right there. Sometimes we need to dig deep in order to find ease in a pose. Sometimes we need to dig deep just to find the motivation to roll the mat out and get ready to move the body. Whatever you have going on, you definitely have a well within you that you can dive into and find what you need to not just survive another day, but thrive in another day, which I think is sort of our goal, right? I think the last couple of years, we're a little over the whole concept of surviving. I think we're all ready to move past that and thrive. And whether we like it or not, that actually requires that we dig deep to make that happen. So laying all the way down and finding connection to your breath. That anchor into the present moment, to the present body, to our present circumstances. Giving ourselves permission to release anything that is not of this moment. And that's the things that have already happened today and the things that are on the list for later this week or later this afternoon. You can put those aside for right now and simply be with this breath. And then see if you can't bring a little softness to the breath, a little ease, a little grace, patience, kindness. Find all those good gooey things that we want more of and bring them into your breath. Invite them into the breath. Breathe like you love yourself. Breathe like it's an act of kindness to your body. It is, by the way. Finding ease in the breath is definitely an act of kindness. We're going to take 5 more deep breaths, and I want you to really start to deepen connection and deepen the actual breath itself. So you're taking in more air, you're exhaling a little more completely. Giving yourself that permission to slow down this morning, to enjoy being on the mat, to enjoy being part of this yoga community. Part of this tribe that has been created here. And then the soles of the feet come to the earth, the hips down, the feet down, the knees are up. Again with the morning voice, so sorry, my loves. Now breathe in this new shape, feel into the low back. Maybe start to tuck the tailbone under, bring the back flat into the ground. And then you get to choose today how you want to space your feet. I'm going to keep my feet right about hip width. I walked my heels in just a little closer to my body, and I'm going to exhale my knees and tilt them over to the right. And then use the whole inhale breath, slow down. And then the full exhale to go to the left. So we're going to windshield wiper, but maybe you bring the feet closer together today, or maybe you take them wider than your normal stance. Just try something that's a little different. Get a little curious, how do windshield wipers feel if I change this in my shape? Linking the breath and the movement. Maybe just easing into the body. I have never been the sort of person that likes to have their alarm go off and you need to leap out of bed, hit the ground running and just go, go, go. I do not function well when that is what's going on. And so I always try to do my best to make sure that I wake up in time to ease into my day. Just like we're easing into our movement here. Going to bring the knees back up to the center. Keep the right foot on the earth. Bring it in hip distance, hip width apart, like in line with the hip. And cross the left ankle over that right knee. I'm keeping my hands up over my head. I'm not going deep. I'm not drawing the knees in yet. I'm just exploring the feeling of this figure four, rocking from the arch of my right foot to the outside edge. Here's Mimosa, our yoga cutie, coming to check on us. Just a little easy rock side to side, trying to keep that left knee opening away from the body. Come on back to center. Lift the left foot up towards the sky, flex those toes, circle the ankle. We're checking on the hamstring. Every time you push the heel up to the ceiling, we're checking on that hamstring, and then we can release it. Doesn't need to go all the way to full stretch here. Now float that left foot down. Right ankle crosses over the left knee. Just use that right hip, the muscles there, to open the knee away. You don't need to use your hand yet. And then maybe we rock a little to the arch of the left foot, to the outside edge, just exploring this right hip a little. Come back to the center, reach that right foot up, flex that heel, check the hamstring, and then release, circle, and wiggle the toes. And flex and wiggle. And float that right foot back down. And then we'll take the right knee in the right hand and the left knee in the left hand. Lift the tailbone, gently set it down, and we'll rock a little side to side. Exploring through the low back, spine, back of the hips. Now we're going to make our way into child's pose. So I'm going to come through tabletop. But if you want to flip over like a pancake, you're welcome to take that transition. We're going to take the knees wide. The toes are going to come together. If you want to grab a prop for support here, either under your heart or under your hips, under your forehead, whatever it takes here, we're going to find a little ease, forehead or chin coming to the earth. And maybe you play with turning the palms to face up and then down, wiggling fingers, starting to open up the wrists, relax the shoulders a little bit. And then we'll look forward at the thumbs, and we're going to rise up onto the forearms. Shoulders are over elbows, knees slide in underneath the hips. Drop the belly low and pause here for a second. Pull the elbows towards your hips so you can pull the heart a little bit forward. Get a little deeper in the back bend. And then exhale, tuck the chin into the chest, ease the hips under. Big cat back here, opening up shoulders. Two more here, forearms, cow pose to cat. One more, cow pose to cat. And now drop the hips back a little bit, almost like we're heading towards child's pose, and then lift up and bring the hands underneath the shoulders, wrists under shoulders, fingers wide, tabletop. Pull the muscles of the front body up towards the sky. So all the way from collarbone to the front side of your tailbone, all those muscles, not just the belly, are lifting up and active and turned on. The weight slides towards thumb and index finger. And we'll take 3 cows and cats. Drop the belly. And then chin to chest. 2 more times. Finding really luxurious ease in the movement. Just melting through from shape to shape. And then return to tabletop. Tuck the toes under. Start to sit the hips back a little bit towards the heels here. Bounce a little bit, that sense of momentum as we rock back and then forward. And then rock back, and the next time you push forward, lift the hips up and back, downward facing dog. Just a little momentum there to get us up off the earth today. Pedaling out the feet, shifting the hips, nodding the head yes, and shaking it no. And if you haven't chosen an intention or a word or a mantra to infuse into your practice today, just what just came up when I suggested the idea? Was there a word or a thought? Maybe it's something you'd like in your life. Maybe it's something that you know someone else needs. This time of year can be very stressful. It can be sad. It can be hard for people. I have a friend who this is her first Christmas without her mom. And I know what that's like. And I breathe love and light and support and comfort towards her. So maybe you know someone who, excuse me, who needs your intention more than you do. And if you don't, and you're using it for yourself, that's fantastic. This is our practice. So we get to choose how we dedicate the movement and to whom. Pause here in down dog. Really pull the hip creases up high. You're going to feel the hamstrings lengthen. Let the heels lift a little if they need to. And then we'll come all the way up on the toes and we'll drop the heart back. We'll find that sense of momentum again. We'll bounce the hips and use that momentum to push us up to the top of the mat. Feet at least 6 inches, maybe a little bit wider. And we'll find our way into ragdoll. So hands holding opposite elbow. And maybe you take a little sway here or shimmy the shoulders. Maybe you want to bend the knees a little more. Take the hamstrings out of this equation and breathe into the back. Especially if you're doing this in the morning, you might not be ready. Your hamstrings might not be ready for a movement of this type. So bring some ease to it. And then release the hands all the way down. Palms come to the shins. Front body muscles engage to lift the back. Exhale, soften and fold. Inhale, lift halfway. Use those muscles. Support the back. Exhale and fold. And this time we're going to inhale all the way up to the sky. Really pushing the ground away with your feet. Spread your fingers wide. Gather up something beautiful. Exhale and drive into your heart. Find some easy movement in the neck, or maybe in the shoulders, or maybe little twists. Maybe you want to take a few deep breaths up. You want to move the wrists. What movement would feel really, if I just said, what movement should we do next? What would your body want? What would it pick? Take that movement. I'm going to bring the palms of the hands to face forward. Arms down low, shoulders away from ears. Pull the belly in towards the spine, lift the heart up just a little bit. Feel that connection of foot to earth. We're grounded. And now feel your connection to breath. We breathe. And from being grounded and connected to self, then we move. So we're going to walk the feet all the way together. If your balance is a little wonky today and you want to stay 6 inches apart, hip width, that's perfectly fine. If you want to challenge your balance just a little, we're going to keep both feet on the floor here for a moment. We're going to take a deep breath all the way up. Pull the hands into the heart and sit your butt back like you're sitting in a chair for chair pose. We tend to push our butt back and then drop our heart forward. And when you do that, you're taking a lot of the work out of the legs and putting a lot of work into the back. So today, I really want you to focus on keeping the tailbone tucked, but the heart lifted, even if that means your chair pose is all the way up here, just the teeniest of bends, right? Because this isn't really a great chair pose. You're going to get a little shift forward, but we're trying to keep it small. And you don't need to get super, super deep. If you want to stretch through your feet, you might lift one heel and release and lift the opposite heel and release and hold here in your chair pose. Front body muscles are strong. Collarbones are open. Inhale, take a deep breath all the way up. Look at the thumbs, spread the fingers. Exhale, hands come into the heart. We're going to add on this time. Inhale, take a deep breath up. Big wide fingers. Every time we reach up today, spread them out. Exhale, hands into heart for chair pose. And if you like to reach the hands up, you're more than welcome to do so. If you want a variation, reach the arms straight forward. It's a little less strain through the back for here. And if you do feel this in your back, again, bring the tailbone under, flatten the back out. Release the hands straight down, slide the left foot back, turn the toes out so the heel is in towards the middle of the mat. Push into the pinky of the left foot, keep right knee over right ankle, reach both hands up. Your head, your heart, and both hip bones are pointing towards the top of the mat for warrior one. Now, rotate the upper arm bones. So you're trying to like wave at the wall behind you. The pinkies turn in. It's going to change the shape of the shoulders and allow maybe for a little more drawing down. Inhale, lift the back heel. Exhale, step it up to the top of the mat, foot side by side, hands at the heart. Inhale, breathe all the way up. Look at the thumbs. Exhale, hands into the heart, chair pose. And again, this is your practice. If you need more ease, then keep it, make it a small chair. That's perfectly fine. Oh, here we go. Lift the right heel, slide the right foot back. Right heel pivots in. We've kept that sort of chair pose lunge in the front leg. Both arms reach up and overhead. Really push into the pinky toe. It's common for the knee to want to drop in, this back knee to drop in towards the midline. And that's why we're pushing down on the pinky toe side of that back foot, engaging the muscles of the back leg to keep us here. And if you need to adjust the angle of the heel, absolutely do. The front heel is really grounded. The front toenails are a little bit light. Inhale, lift that back heel. Exhale, step it up to the top of the mat. Hands come into the heart. Inhale, deep breath up. Exhale, chair pose. Softening, we'll lift the left heel, slide that foot back, turn that heel in, reach arms up. Warrior one. And now straighten through the front leg, and we're going to turn our hips and let this left heel come around towards the left side of the mat. You can keep both hands lifted if you want to really work through your core. As you push the hips back and tilt towards your triangle pose. Now notice the heart is not coming down towards the earth. The heart stays open here. And if you really just need triangle today, slide that right hand down, left hand lifts up, Trikonasana, triangle pose. Bend the front knee, push up. A little bit of a baby warrior two here, not a fully extended leg. And then soften the knees, shift your weight. It's like we're doing a little dance. And the left foot steps up to the top of the mat. Hands come into the heart. Inhale, breathe all the way up. Exhale, chair pose. Breathe. Soften through this right leg, slide it back. Ooh, you wobble like I do, it's okay. It's a yoga practice, not a yoga perfect. Reach the hands up. Remember, this is not a performance. So it's okay if it doesn't look exactly the way you're thinking. And then here we go. We're gonna pivot that right heel, pivot the hips around towards the right side of the mat. You can adjust your spacing, straighten the left leg. Maybe you keep both arms extended. Maybe the left hand comes down and the right hand reaches up. Triangle pose, left foot forward. Yoga with cats in the house is just never boring. Just gotta say that. Bend through that front leg, reach it up, narrow warrior two, start to shift the weight, do your fun little dance, step it up to the top of the mat, shake out the hands, feet all the way together, deep breath up, wide fingers, exhale, chair pose. One breath. Where can you bring some ease? Softening the left foot steps back, reach both hands up, warrior one. One breath. And then we're going to lift and open, straighten the front leg, your version of triangle, both arms extended, or one arm up and one arm down. Slight bend in the front knee. We're going to reach up and turn all 10 toes towards the left side of the mat. Heels are turned slightly out. Take a nice deep breath up. And exhale, soften and fold all the way down. Hips pushing back. And then once you're in your fold, if you want to get a little deeper, you might change the spacing of your feet, get a little wider. You might want to come a little more narrow. And maybe you need to sway, bend one knee and the other. Maybe you want to open up the back and take some twists. This is a little bit of free play time. Maybe you just need to hang in your fold. Bending the knees, bringing the hands down to the earth. We're going to heel toe our feet all the way in. Little baby steps all the way together. And then we're going to bend the knees, bring the hands partway towards the top of the mat, lift the heels, pivot and step around, and walk it up, forward fold at the top of the mat. Slightly different transition than we normally take to get here, but have a little fun with it. Be a little curious. Inhale, lift up halfway, half fold. Exhale, soften all the way down. Inhaling up to the sky. Feet all the way together. Exhale, chair pose. Right foot slides back and turns in, arms up, warrior one. Pivoting open, straightening the front leg, triangle pose, your version. Reach back up, turn all the toes to the right, breathe up, big wide fingers. Exhale, forward fold, let it go. Fingertips come all the way down, so bend the knees if you need to, and walk those feet in. Lift the heels, start to walk the hands around. You might need to do this in 3 or 4 different pieces. That's okay. Walk it around, walk it up, forward fold. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale and fold. Inhaling up to the sky. Exhale, hands into the heart. Get those feet all the way in together now. We're going to add on the last piece. Inhale, breathe up. Exhale, chair pose. Keep that heart nice and lifted. Slide the left foot back. Reach the hands up. Warrior one. Lift and pivot open. Triangle pose. Right leg straight. Left leg straight. Inhale back up. Pivot all the toes to the left. Take a deep breath up. And soften and fold forward. Walk those feet in. And if you want, you can take your back foot and step it up towards the front foot now. Pivot the heels around. Take a nice walk. Top of the mat. Forward fold. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, soften and fold. Fingertips in front of you. We're going to come up onto our tiptoes and bring the hips down onto the heels. Yogi squat. All the way up on those tiptoes. And then as you exhale, relax the heels down. Inhale and lift. We're working through the soles of the feet and the calf muscles and the ankles just a little bit. Inhale and lift up. Exhale, release them down. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, drop the heels down and hold it here. Using the elbows to keep the knees staying in. Hands on the ground if they're not already. Lift the hips up, plant the hands, downward facing dog. Now we're going to take the feet really wide in our down dog this time. Turn the toes slightly out. Turn the heels slightly in. See how that feels in your shape. Mimosa seems to approve. Thank you, Madame. And then we'll bend the knees and we'll, thank you for getting little kitty prints. Walk the heels, hands back. The hips are going to drop. We'll find our way to Malasana at the back of the mat. Elbows inside knees. Thumbs at the heart center. If it allows, you might want to keep your fingers on the earth here. And if your heels are super lifted, that's just fine. You can always roll up a towel or roll up your mat. Put something underneath the heels for a little extra support. Release the fingers, lift the hips. Bring the feet closer together, 6 inches, forward fold at the back of the mat. Inhale and lift up halfway. Exhale, soften and fold. Inhale all the way up to the sky. Exhale, hands into the heart, bring the feet together. You're like, but we're at the back of the mat. I know, how fun. Inhale, deep breath up. Exhale, chair pose. I got you, don't worry. This is a funky transition. We don't step forward very often in yoga, but today we're going to reach this left foot forward into our lunge, pivot the right heel in, right back where we need to be. Warrior one, left foot forward. Lift and pivot open, straightening the legs, reaching forward and down. Option to keep both hands lifted. Triangle pose. Slight bend in the knee, rise back up, pivot towards the right side of the mat. Deep breath up, wide fingers. Exhale, soften and fold. Softening the knees, heel toeing together. When you're close, maybe stepping the back foot up and pivoting and walking to the top of the mat, forward fold. That's a little bit fun. It feels a little unusual. It's a new transition. Hands on the earth, heels coming down. We're back in our yogi squat. Heels lifted. Exhale, heels lower. 2 more, heels lift and lower. Really try and feel every inch of the foot. Lift and lower. And bring the hands to the earth. Lift the hips, forward fold. Lifting up halfway. Exhale and fold. Step it back, downward facing dog. Take the feet out nice and wide. Softening the knees, walking it back, dropping the hips. Maybe you want to keep your Malasana lifted, right? Your elbows are up on the thighs. And maybe you want to drop the hips down and sink into your shape. Just like with chair pose, we're going to try not to tilt like a teapot, right? We're going to keep the heart lifted, the belly strong, supporting the back. And then maybe you notice that your fingers are like really strongly engaged here, as you could relax and find some lightness for them. Release the hands down, sits bones to the earth, legs come right out in front of you. Shift the fascia, right, the little fleshy bits, and we'll sit up nice and tall for Dandasana. Maybe your fingertips come to the earth for a little support. If your low back is not really strong and your core is not really strong, Dandasana is a challenging shape. We'll just get a little uncomfortable here. It's okay. If you're working just sitting in this shape each day, if you want to add a little core work to it, reach both hands forward and then lean back. The hands are going to lift. And then exhale, come back up to your Dandasana. Take a little half lower. You'll feel the core turn on. Come back up. If you start to feel it in your low back, no bueno. We're going to stop. Lean. And lift. One more. Tilt if you like it. Or if you don't. Lift. And release the hands to the earth. Shift the booty forward. Roll it all the way down. Take your time. Get there with some ease. If your block is handy, we're going to grab that. If you don't have a block handy, no problem. I got you. So my son used to say when he was a younger teenager, he'd say, "Don't worry, Mom, I got you." Tap his chest 2 times. I got you, felt front. That is one of the good things I can say about my son. He has my back. I love that boy. If you've raised a boy yourself, you know it is not an easy job. Mamas, not always easy raising a son, but it's worth it. Okay, no block. You have a couple of options. You can just hang out in your bridge base and just find a little ease here. Working option without the block is to tuck the tailbone, roll up to bridge. And we're going to pulse the knees open and closed. And every pulse, the glutes lift a little higher. And then eventually roll back down. You get to choose how many you want to do, if any. And then at the bottom, we'll take a windshield wiper. Knees go side to side. If you have a block and what you need is rest here, then we'll lift the hips, slide the block under the sacral bone. Let the hips rest. Walk the shoulders up away from the hips just a little bit. So there's real length in the spine. So this is your choice. You can take active with the squeeze and the windshield wipers. You can rest without a prop, hips on the earth, or you can grab your block and take a restorative bridge. But we're here for a minute. So whichever option you like. Breathing easy. About 30 seconds left. And everybody's going to come back to bridge base here. So if the block is under the hips, you can let it stay. If you put it on its medium height, drop it down flat. I'm going to put my block in under here. We're all going to lift the feet up towards the ceiling. So if the hips are on the earth, that's great. If your hips are lifted, also great. Take the feet about 6 inches apart. Move the ankles. Wiggle your toes. There is a correlation between maintaining flexibility in your toes and maintaining good balance as we age. So taking these toe sparkling activities is not just because I like them, there's a real benefit. It's really great to use your feet to pick things up off the floor. So if you drop, a cap to something or a Kleenex or paper towel, something light and easy, grab it with your toes and see if you can't pick it up. And then we'll float the arches of the feet together. Once again, if the block is under the hips, the shoulders might need to slide away. We're creating space in our spine here. And then again, whether hips are lifted or lowered, we're going to draw the knees in towards the chest. And if your hips are lifted, you might need to, one more time, walk the shoulders away from the hips as we maintain the length of the spine. You can hold your hands on the shins or hug the knees in if you like. If there's a block under your hips, you don't really need to use your hands. That's your choice. What I'd love is if with each exhale, you allow the hips to release a little bit more and let the knees just shift even a hair's distance closer to your heart. And we'll float the right foot back to the earth and the left foot back to the earth. If you have a prop, lift the hips, slide it out, ease the hips back down. We all come back to our bridge base, hips down, feet down, knees up, and observe the spine, the low back. How do we feel? You're welcome to keep the feet on the earth here. We're going to take a spinal twist. So the knees are going to go over to the right. If you want a slightly deeper twist, draw the knees into the chest first. And if you want to use your core, look, mom, no hands, just extend them out and use the muscles, especially in the obliques, to ease the knees over. So feet down or knees to chest, slide the knees over to the right, anchoring the left shoulder down. And pause for a few breaths. Where can you find a little more ease in your twist today? Where can you find more bliss? I have a yoga teacher that I take class with who always cues spinal twist. This is bliss. Yeah. And some days it really is. Some days you gotta look for the bliss. It's usually there someplace. One more breath in and out. If the feet are planted on the earth, then we're just going to inhale the knees back to center. If you did this with knees to chest, pull the knees back up towards your face a little bit and then ease up to center. And we do that so that we're not rolling so much over the back of the hips as we are rolling over the back of the spine. It's much more comfortable. And then we'll take the knees over the other side, easing them down. And observe. This side might feel more blissful. This side might not. They might not be exactly the same. And that's natural. That's just right. We're here to observe what is. And through movement and connection to breath, allow for things to shift. We are not, however, here to sort of manhandle ourselves into shapes that don't serve us, or to push so far beyond our edge that we are in pain or injured. Those should never be our goals in yoga. Yoga is not a workout, it's a work in, loves. It's a work in. All right, if the knees are drawn in, pull them in a little more, slide back up to center. If the feet are planted, slide back up to center. And we're going to make our way into Baddha Konasana, reclined bound angle, soles of the feet together, knees opening out. I love props, I like my blocks under my knees to find a little more ease. Notice what your tailbone naturally does here. Does it drop down, giving a natural curve to the back? Or do you naturally sort of tuck it under and pull the back into the earth to support the low back? Not a right or wrong here. What feels the best in your body? We are going to be here for a couple of minutes. If you have a blanket or a bolster and you want to add an extra little component here, you can slide that blanket underneath your spine the long way. So I'm folding it over to give a little more lift. I'm going to add a little fish pose to my reclined bound angle. Might have to play a little bit to get the blanket right where you want it. This is optional. If you just need Supta Baddha Konasana, reclined bound angle, we'll take that. And we'll soften and breathe. I'm going to try and move or speak at some point as we go through these next couple of minutes so that you do. When I take yoga class and the teacher on Zoom and the teacher gets really quiet, I always wonder if it's frozen. Am I stuck? Did I get kicked out? You know, I don't want you to worry about your technology. So I will try to talk you through, but I want to give you the space to have breath and ease as well. So got another minute and a half in this shape. If you've already had as much of this shape as your body needs today, please exit, come back to something we've already taken, back to bridge, back to twists. Allow for the unfolding of the shape. Reclined bound angle isn't really a shape that you can get into and you're boom, right into the deepest version of it that you've got. Your body is going to unfold into it like a rose blooming. If you've ever watched a flower bloom, A little movement here, a little shift there. The pedals start to loosen up, and then you start to find the depth and the openness. It's kind of what happens, at least for me, in my hips as I relax into this shape. It's one of the reasons we hold it a little longer than some of the others. We got about 4 breaths left here, babes. One more breath in. Ease the breath out. Press the feet actively together, engage the inner thighs. Hands outside knees, guide them back up and in. If you've got the blanket under your spine, you can move that now. We're going to shift the feet to the edges of the mat, the knees come together. You might even push the heels out so the toes are slightly pointed in. And we'll just balance out our bound angle with tent pose. That's my name for it. Just a few more seconds. One more breath in. Long breath out. Release the knees, walk the feet back in. This next stretch is yogi's choice. You can either take ankle to knee pose and draw the knees in. So this is like an upside down pigeon. Or if you really want happy baby, you can hold the outside edges of the feet or the arches or the big toes. I will cue you at the halfway point so that if you're taking reclined pigeon there, you can switch sides. And if you're in happy baby, you get to stay for the whole minute. If you're on one leg, switch to the opposite leg in your reclined pigeon. If you're in happy baby, just keep breathing. If you've been moving and rocking in your happy baby, see if you can pause here and take the next 20 seconds in happy baby just to not move. Nice. Release where you're at and draw the knees back into the chest, right knee in the right hand, left knee in the left hand. Maybe you lift the tailbone up and gently set it down. And we'll rock a little bit side to side just for starters. And then circle the knees, both of them in the same direction. I'm going to the right first. And then go to the left. Back into center, and this time we'll take the knees in opposite directions. So the right knee goes right, the left knee goes left. When you keep the knees together, we're really working on a nice massage in the low back. When the knees go in opposite directions, we're working on the hip joint itself. Switch your circles, go the other way. And coming back into center, holding the right knee in, stretch the left leg out long. Flex the left foot so the toes are really lifting towards, pulling towards your face. The left heel is actively stretching away. Relax the right hip. And then switch sides. The left knee comes in and the right leg now is extending as long as it'll go, flexing the toes up, relaxing through the left hip. And then release the left leg out long as well. finding your way now into whatever your final resting shape is going to be for today. If you want corpse pose, right, all the way down on your back, if you want to use your blanket for a little support, or cover yourself up like a burrito. The weather has been a little chilly around here, not gonna lie. I taught a class yesterday morning for a company that is in Manhattan, New York, and it was 10 degrees warmer there than it was here when I taught it. Crazy weather, my friends. But find yourself settling and sinking now, coming into whatever shape is restful in your body. Whatever you need here. Use your props generously. And settle down. There is nothing left to do in this practice. These next moments are yours to be. At this time in the calendar year, we need rest. Almost always I take an extra minute or two more Shavasana than I might at other points of the year to really give yourself that space, that opportunity to sit with yourself, to sit with what is, to breathe, to bring ease, rest. We need rest. Welcome to Shavasana. You don't need to move or shift, but listen to the sounds. Let the music start to bring you back to your breath, back to your body, back to your room. You still don't have to move yet. Just waking up a smidge, technical term, smidge. And now start to deepen your breath. Maybe sweep the arms up and overhead and stretch the whole body long. Take a yawn, a shift, a sigh. And then find whatever movement's going to bring you back to yourself.
Fingers and toes, wrists and ankles, turning the head side to side. Maybe you draw the knees into the chest. Maybe you turn to one side and curl up. Maybe you want a few minutes of seated meditation and you want to come back up. Yogi's choice. Finding ease wherever you're at. Staying with the breath. Keep it light. Maybe you take some easy movement in the neck or the shoulders. And if you're still reclined, start to make your way back up. Head over heart, heart over hips. Comfortable seat, palms of the hands together, pressed together, thumbs at the heart center. And bow the head here for a moment. Letting the mind intelligence surrender to the body intelligence. A reminder that your body knows what's good for you, and it'll tell you what it needs. And when we ignore it, that's when we find ourselves in a state of dis-ease or disease. And the pressing of the palms together is a symbol of the sealing in of today's practice. Taking our intentions, our mantras for ourselves and for others, and infusing them into our breath, into our physical body, breathing them out to share with the world. It's a simple act that can actually make the world a better place. The divine light within me bows humbly to the light within you. Thank you for being here to practice today. Thank you for getting on your mat, for sharing your intentions with me, even when they're wordless. I do feel the love. I feel the energy. It comes from you to me. And I hope you feel it coming from me to you. Your reminder that it's okay to rest. Namaste.